So I'm new to the group kind of thing, only a few months, and went out with Rupert right before Christmas and saw several UFOs. And it's like, I'm a believer. And so they had another group going out on New Year's Eve. And there were four of us that went out to Nelson down by the river. And we started the first meditation, and of course you do it with your eyes closed, and it's all your imagination and your brain, and trying to contact mentally or spiritually with aliens. And the first image I got, it was as clear as Rupert is standing here, was a reptile, serpent-looking creature, and had the face of a serpent, essentially. And it reminded me of the images that you see of ancient Egypt and the serpent gods, right, that have been around Earth, have worshipped around Earth for thousands of years. And Rupert's guiding us through the meditation and, asking if we see craft in that. And you know how we as adults, you can say, I'm ready to see anything. I don't care what it is. I don't care how bizarre. And I've seen a lot in my life. And as a researcher, done all kinds of crazy stuff. I tested nuclear weapons for a while, seen a lot of stuff. And I saw this image of this serpent man kind of creature, and it wouldn't go away. And I'm thinking, is this my imagination? And it's kind of communicating with me, but I kept on trying to convince myself this was my imagination and not a mental contact. And as you were saying, you're contacted through images and mentally. And it took minutes, a good while, it seemed like an eternity, for that being, or my imagination, my image of that being, to morph into a more palatable, acceptable thing for my soul or my mental readiness at the time. And that was kind of a ghost-like, almost a Casper the Ghost kind of image. And to me, I got that the being was communicating with me and telling me, we're cool, we're here, this is it, hello. And kind of initiating me to his look, what they look like, and then transform themselves into a more palatable form so I could accept and begin communicating. And we did, and they showed me some craft and that kind of thing. So it's kind of amazing what you can experience out there.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm a professional artist, and I've had a lot of interesting experiences, especially since I moved to Las Vegas about 30 years ago, dealing with extraterrestrials, reptilians, and the like, and I'm happy to share that with you.
Tell me about the experience where you and your boyfriend were in a shop, or you walked into a
Okay,
shop.
you're talking about the reptilian stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming they were reptilian. That was the energy signature that they gave off, and I had already interacted with the reptilian before that. So um, my ex-boyfriend and I had been going to the Whole Foods grocery store over in Henderson, which is a part of Las Vegas. And uh, when we first walked in, we walked past this couple, a man and a woman, and I got the distinct feeling they were brother and sister. And interestingly enough, my ex-boyfriend and I had been talking about non-humans, and so we walked past them, and I got this really strong feeling that these people were not human and that they were reptilian. And I kind of whispered it to my boyfriend at the time, and he unfortunately said it out loud, said, "Yeah, not human." And I think that upset them. So, and we proceeded to shop and everything. And then there was a third person, a woman who looked like a woman. She was dressed strangely and had a weird energy also. And she was following us around, it seemed like she was always there in the same aisle with us, which was very bizarre. And she was also there at the end when this thing happened. And so when we were done, we were checking out, and right before we went into the checkout lane, my boyfriend at the time stopped and said, "Something's wrong." And he looked around, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I'm checking out, and he gets over to on the left side of me, closer to the exit door, right? And something happened where apparently he said the woman of that couple was staring right out at me. There were like 2 aisles down in the checkout thing from us, and she was staring intently at me. And all of a sudden, I felt this like I was being struck by some energy or something like that. And the light changed. It went almost into this like almost washed out kind of light, very bizarre, and very bright too. So, and I looked over at my boyfriend, and he was intently staring at this other woman who was behind me, the one who had been following us around, and it upset me because at the time I was like going through jealousy issues and stuff like that. But it was like the thing I feared, right? So it was like they were showing me the thing I feared. Now he claims that that never happened. I was really upset, and I didn't say anything because I don't act out when I'm upset, especially in public. I just put my sunglasses on. I was really upset, and we checked out, and then I didn't say anything to him until we got into the car. And then we worked out what had happened and what I saw, what I said I saw and everything, what I thought I saw. And he said, no, that's not what happened. He explained that that other woman was staring at me intently. And then we talked about the light changing. And so we figured that I just got zapped. And then I thought about, they probably overheard us or overheard my boyfriend saying that those are non-humans. And it probably upset them because I was trying to like think about if I were them, what would upset them. And that would upset me too if I were like a non-human and I was being like called out, and maybe it made them uncomfortable. So I'm sure they don't want people to know what they are.
Yeah, and you feel that that zapping, that wasn't a technological zap, that was a mental zap.
Oh yeah, it was mental. Yeah, what they were doing is what I felt like they did was that she had projected my own fear into my mind so that I would see something that would upset me. Um, You mean, I suppose it could have been a lot worse, but I know that reptilians, at least since then I've learned that reptilians can actually project into your mind and make you see things. And so that would explain why the light shifted and it was like, it was kind of surreal. It was like not really going on. And they were showing me something at the time that I feared.
Right, so we're going to move on to our main story here. And there was a lady that you encountered that um, uh, at the end of the story, she changed into a reptilian in front of you.
Mhm.
We're going to get to that point in a little bit.
Okay.
Let us start off with how did you meet her?
Okay. I don't exactly remember when I found her name or why I chose her, but I was looking, sometimes I get readings from psychics, and I know that she had a show in town at a casino. It was a psychic show, and she kind of described it to me like the first time I met her, but I met her at her home. That was probably in like 2005 or something like that. So went and got a reading, and I knew she was unusual. And in my mind, I was asking, "What are you?" Because at the time, I believe that that's when I started getting interested in the possibility of non-humans or more of the supernatural after all the experiences I'd had before that, right? So went and got a reading, and then I saw her a year later, and she had moved to another place, and so this was at her other home, and we did a reading, and I was going to pay her, and she said, and I think I didn't tell you this before, she said, no, don't pay me, just do a picture of a fire pig, which was her Chinese horoscope, I guess. So, and I do remember in that place, her daughter was in the kitchen, but I couldn't see her because she was behind some cereal boxes or something. And this woman's name was Marlene. She was a well-known psychic in town, and I never saw her show. But then the third time I saw her, she came to my house because she wanted to look at the fire pig and she wanted to see my other art and stuff like that. So she came over, and after we did the tour and we were standing over here in my art studio, she stood a couple feet in front of me and she turned her head in profile so I could see her in profile, and it was right under the light, so it was very clear, and she literally morphed into a reptoid with scales for skin, and she had a few wisps of hair. And like we talked about before, her nose was still kind of detached. It was hooked, so maybe she wasn't completely morphed. And her brow, though, had gotten real heavy and had been pushed down. She had the black eyes, all black eyes, sclera and everything, her chin had gotten really elongated and pushed down, and she was hunched over like as if she were naturally much taller. She was already taller than me, but she would have been a whole lot taller if she had stood up completely in this form. So it was almost like her back was so hunched it looked like a hump. So the image that I saw was really scary. It was like a scaly old crone, like one that was about to keel over, and it was like almost like something you would see in a witch monster kind of movie or something like that. And she held it there for a while. It could have been at least 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. So I got a good look. And then when she turned back to me, she looked human again, and she had a smile on, like a smirk on her face, and she left soon after that. She knew. And I was like catatonic. I didn't know what to say to her. I was just like, and because I had never seen anything like that, I wasn't expecting it. And she didn't take the art with her or anything. She just kind of left, and I hadn't seen her since. And I didn't even tell anybody about what I saw for like a whole year because it freaked me out so much. Then I started talking about it, and by the time I was brave enough to actually try to contact her to ask her some questions about it, when I looked her up online a few years later, all I found was her obituary, which you can find online now. And so, I missed my opportunity to ask her questions, but I was too scared when I first saw it. I wouldn't even know what to ask her. I didn't know what she was, so I didn't know much about reptilians or anything.
Why do you think she changed in front of you?
I think it was because the previous times I had met with her, I was asking her in my mind, which she obviously could read, what are you? What are you? And I knew she was something different. And perhaps because she knew that I'm a highly visual person. Perhaps she liked me for some reason because I'm not easily frightened or anything. I'm a person who doesn't flinch. Perhaps I don't know why exactly. I'm just assuming those things. So
And
maybe
your interpretation is that she didn't do it because she wanted to scare you. She did it because you were asking, "What are you?" And she wanted to give you the truth.
which I so appreciate. I mean, that was really pivotal in my life to see that. For me, it really confirmed all of the things that I was picking up intuitively around me, all the dreams that I had had, all the interactions with the spirit world, all of it became really, really solidified right there because it's like, oh, I have proof right now. I've seen this. It's solid right in front of my face. And I so appreciate that she did that. And she showed me probably in the kindest way possible. I mean, she wasn't looking directly at me when she was shifting because I think that would have been extremely mortifying. But the way she showed me was very kind and gentle, and I appreciate that. So I just wish I could have asked her some questions. That would have been nice. I, you know, she was a smoker. I do remember that. So perhaps she was coming to the end of her life and she knew it too. Maybe she wanted to be seen before she went. Maybe that was kind of part of her legacy. So it's coming out of hiding. But I'm glad it happened.
And just to clarify this, when she changed in front of you, um, you don't feel like you feel like the mental projection was before she changed, like her image as a human was the mental projection that she was projecting into your mind. And when she took away that projection, that manipulation, you were seeing her as she really was.
I feel like she hadn't completely morphed since we talked about it because of the wisps of hair that were still attached to her head, and they were long, long wisps of hair. So, and because she wasn't standing up fully, and perhaps because her nose was not completely attached, it was still detached somewhat. I do feel like she hadn't completely morphed, but I do agree with you that I feel like it was her human form was a mental projection that she was putting out. She was really good at it. And that what she showed me when she shifted was more towards her real self. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're hearing here is not a hostile entity
No.
where she was friendly.
No, yeah, she was always friendly. She was a real craggy kind of woman, like a smoker, like, hey, how you doing? That kind of thing. And, but, in a friendly kind of way. And I'm good with women like that. So for me, it was like, we got along great. I mean, I only saw her the 3 times, so it wasn't like I hung out with her a lot or anything, but I liked her, and she seemed to like me fine, and she smiled, and you know, she just seemed like an average person to me, just who was very gifted.
Have you ever considered connecting with her spirit?
Oh, no, I haven't. I guess I could. I could try that.